Hello, welcome to TouchPoint with Tayo. Once again, this is a show where everything matters. I'm your host, Tayo Oweye, and on TouchPoint, we engage Africans' realities. We deal with issues that concerns Africans in diaspora and Africans in Africa. We educate minds and definitely touch on trendy issues. Before we go to the issue of how immigrants struggle with black tax, what are the best budgeting strategies for immigrants to adjusting to the high cost of even living in the UK? Because most people think high cost of living is just towards African countries only or towards the developing countries, but there are also high living costs are here too. How do you think, what are the best budgeting strategies for immigrants to checkmate help me to spend it concept?
What I was going to say to black tax,
Yeah.
everybody,
No, we're
it's not
still
just,
talking about the best budgeting strategies.
the truth is, it's not just
Okay.
for the people in diaspora.
Yeah.
Even while you were there
Mm-hmm.
with your people, there was still black tax going on.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's not because we left the country, that is why it's not a big deal.
Mm.
It's not.
Yeah.
So you get it from extended family members, you get it from school friends,
Yeah.
all those people with that mentality, especially. Yes, so you get it from uncles, aunties, even friends that you live together on one street when you were growing up. So they just feel entitled sometimes that
Mm.
if I ask her, if I ask him,
Mm-hmm.
and even when you give, is that all she has? Is that all he has?
Mm.
50,000 naira. Because they've punched the calculator. They've said 20 pounds times 2,000 will give you this. So she can't give me 20 pounds. Definitely, she will give me like 100 pounds, you know. So what we need to do really for anybody living, this is not even for Nigerians or it has no color.
What color?
Everybody must learn to budget.
Mm.
Budgeting is a skill that everybody must acquire. It doesn't just make sense that after all the hard shifts that you do in the month, the getting up early, going to work, coming back, sometimes, you get bullied at work. Sometimes, you know, you get all different kinds of things, and
Yeah.
you come back home and you are not even able to account for the essence of going to work,
Mm.
which is the money that you earn. It doesn't just make sense
Yes. Mm.
because until you've put it down on paper, as in it is black and
Black
white to
and
you,
white.
it is difficult for you to even understand what is coming in,
Mm.
what is going out, and how much you can save if you decide to save. You don't know.
Mm.
If somebody says, let's do contributions like Ajo, 1,000 pounds, everybody, you will say you can. You've not done budgeting, no. You
Mm-hmm.
just give them your 1,000 and you will struggle through the month.
Yeah.
That's when you now eventually, it's not your turn to get the contribution. It is what you've suffered through in those 12 months that you first
That
face.
you're
Yes,
getting.
you know. And so the essence of the contribution self is not making sense to you because it feels like something is just taking the money all away from you. But when you want to gain control, to tell your money where it should go,
Mm.
to define whose hands your money should be in,
Mm.
and even tell them how they use it
Mm.
to the satisfaction of your own soul, you then get a budget.
Wow.
In your budget, I've got one that I made from scratch. It is on Seller. If you go to my Instagram page, you will see it.
Mm.
So Funke Ogunjobi _EAS, my Instagram page. In the bio, the link is there.
Mm.
it will tell you everything that comes in. So it's built with people who work on wages in mind. So if you earn more than once a month, so it's got maybe like 10, 15 lines. So it doesn't matter, even if you get paid every day, you will have somewhere to put the money. And then it has a bit that says your expenses and also your bills, because there are two different things. Expenses are not bills. Your bills are mandatory expenses that you will have to pay whether you have money or not, whether you have worked or not, because that is how this system is built. Yes. And your expenses, you can cut them totally, that you don't want it. You can do whatever it is that you want with your expenses. So it has different sections for those ones. And it has a part that would ask you, how much have you put in your stocks and shares? How much have you put in your whatever bonds? You know, because you would have listed where you are investing your money. So at the end of the month, it will be asking you, and how much did you eventually save here? And then somewhere it has the pie charts that will now tell you what takes the bulk of your money. Yes. So it would ask you all of that so that you yourself can see. And also your expenses, as you put in your expenses, the shops, groceries, Netflix, utilities, black tax, all of those, transportation, fueling, and all of that. It has that. So as you put in your expenses, there's a line graph that pops up. So it tells you each month which is the most expense, so that you can see like this and say, okay, I want to cut that.
Okay.
Yes, that's that month. So that when you move to the following month, you know where you are going to exert your energy of cutting cost on. So that is there. And that is really, really important. So that is where you begin to see growth in your personal finance. Because if you don't start to budget, you're not treating yourself well. Not at all.
So what are those key financial mistakes you think most immigrants
Sorry?
What are the key financial mistakes most immigrants make, and that does not allow them to build long-term wealth?
So number one for me is they need to get financial literate. So they need to be financially literate to understand what their problem is. Because if you see somebody else doing well in that area and you are not, then it means that the knowledge is all over. You can learn it. So one area where our people, get into big problems financially is they spend beyond their means. And credit card is a wealth killer. How could you have a credit card? You'll be buying shoes and bags. Who are you impressing, by the way? Who? And so you buy shoes and bags, you buy these uniforms, be with it. You want to wear new shoes to church every month or whatever, and your salary cannot give you this. So spending more than you have kills somebody, financially.
Yeah.
And also, like I said, budgeting. If you don't budget, if you don't know what is coming in, what is going out, for some people, their budget is in their heads. How much and I know. How much do you spend on a monthly basis? Roughly maybe, I've never been, no, I don't spend more. But by the time they put it on paper, they see their score.
Then the eyes gets wide open.
They run away. They don't even want anybody to see it. They said, no. I've seen somebody that did that. No, coach, you can't see. No. I need to go to my husband. I said, let me see. He said, no.
Let me go back. Let me go and come back.
I will show you. And just so you know, I just completed mine for March. what's today on Thursday, because I had to go over it just to plug in some numbers. And I just like, wow, So that is another thing that we have to be mindful of. You need to don't spend beyond what you can afford.
Yes.
And also, if anybody, another thing that I know that is killing most immigrants is when you get to the UK newly, after some few months, you bought one or two things in shops, or you now start working, you now have money coming in regularly, you're working, and you earn maybe £2,000 on a monthly basis. So somehow you have a history with the bank. And these credit agencies, they connect with the banks as well. So they get information of them. They now see that this person is working and they earn 2,000 and they've never had any credit card before. The next thing you will see is in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you just see you've been approved to get £4,000 in the credit card. You don't have to do anything. Just fill the form.
Just pick it up.
And we will complete the rest. They're just like, whoa! So they just give me
This is money.
£4,000 like that.
This is
Oh,
money.
thank God. Thank God. And I've been meaning to, that's when you now say that you've been meaning to do something. You've been living your life like you were living it in Nigeria without any credit. But now, because the premise of finance in the UK stands on credit.
Yeah.
If you don't have a credit, you are a financial ghost. So, because that is how it is built. So you now see that they now start coming to you. And once you're able to plug into that, you said, okay, I'm willing to have your £4,000. And you start spending it. That is the beginning of financial struggles.
Wow.
Yes. And because we are not careful enough to look at the APR.
Yeah.
We don't know that credit card is expensive to run. Some of them, 28%.
Wow.
That's what you pay.
Wow.
So that also runs down immigrants if and when they are not careful.
Wow. Thank you so much. I mean, you've made some vital points about don't spend beyond what you can afford. These are just basic principles of life, budgets, and the issue of credit card. And for those who will be going to that to your handle to download that budgeting tool, that would be great. So great for listeners and viewers. I want to touch on retirement planning for immigrants. I have a professor in Nigeria who probably is listening right now, who is a professor of uh, retirement planning. It does, I mean, industrial sociology, retirement planning, and everything. And we do talk a lot about it. Shout out to Professor Kunle Ogunbameru, who will talk about retirement planning. But what I'm thinking right now is that many immigrants delay thinking about retirement because they plan to return home someday. How do you think they can plan smartly without financial regrets? Are there any retirement savings options available to immigrants in the UK?
Yeah, thank you, host. When it comes to retirement, you must have a goal so that you can remain disciplined and be consistent to achieve your goal. Planning for retirement without a goal is as good as not planning at all, because anything or any misdirection, can lead to you not achieving what you intended to do. And I always tell people, it starts with you writing down what exactly you want. You see, if you don't see it on paper, you can't plan better. As simple as I want to retire in Nigeria. Once you have written it down on paper, not thinking, the next question is what and where or how. So you begin to see that questions will begin to jump out of you and you begin to find answers for them. So because we get to a point where you're not like, okay, I don't have a house in Nigeria currently. I'm living in the UK. So how will I retire in Nigeria? If that is what I really want to. I love to retire in Nigeria. That is what you want. That's the goal. It starts with the goal. So you're not, okay, building a house, that's one option. Or buying
a house
that is already built. You go and find the costs. See the one that suits your budgets. If it is building, where? Do I just want to buy a piece of land? And if I'm going to buy it, is it just any piece of land anywhere, no security? Or is it going to be in an estate? You see, it's just like a decision tree. You start with the main goal. You now begin to make sure that every node on that decision tree, is now answered. Yes. So when you have now weighed those two options, you now decide for one. Do I want it in an estate? If that is what you've now decided to do, where? Lekki, Ikoyi, somewhere in Agege, wherever, as long as there is security.
Joburg or
wherever it is,
Nairobi,
wherever in the world, as long as maybe the key condition, you've put it down. If the security, there must be power supply, there must be that. You put it there. You see, that's part of planning.
Yeah.
You see, the next time somebody carelessly in the news says something that matches your goal, what would you do? You tune in. You see, you won't waste information.
Yeah.
It may just be something that the person has been saying for 20 years. You've known this person for the past 20 years. But because it is not what you have as a goal, it didn't make sense. In fact, it never sold anything to you. But because you now have it on paper, you've written it down. When somebody says it, you jump. The next thing is, what is our address? What's their office number? I need to call them. Or you go on website to see, are they genuine? Are they fake?
Yeah.
And that has helped me as a person and led me to somebody who is a well-known person in Nigeria. It was just like, I just had a goal one day and I just like, this is what, I was just writing it down. And carelessly, she just said this, I'm bringing somebody to this call and they sell this and that. I was just like, oh, how did I end up here?
Yeah.
Even though I was meant to be in a program that was different from that one, but I was just like, let me just listen to her today. It's been a long time since I listened to her. And you said, if this person is not genuine, count me all out. So I just waited, I heard everything. I just called my husband. Love, this is it. And that has helped me. It has blessed me.
Wow.
It is all to the power of planning. And having a goal. She could have said that and could have been on that phone, doing 1,000,000 things alongside listening to that.
Yeah.
And bought nothing. Bought nothing.
Nothing.
From it. Yes.
Into action. Yes.
Yeah. So as an immigrant, you decide first where you want to retire and what are your plans. Now, once you now decided where you're going to retire and you have a house that you're going to retire in, at least you don't want to end up as a government picking.
Yeah.
In your old age, because even right now, the government is not helping you.
Yeah.
They are not giving you money. So it's not when you're old that you now remember that you're existing.
And they will say they want to remember,
okay,
and they want to remember the adults.
Yeah, so let us give her a house, or let us take her to Nigeria and give her a house there. They won't do that. So once you've now decided that, the other thing is now like, what will I live on when I retire? My expenses nowadays is maybe £1,000 a month. Yeah. What will generate me 1,005 then because of inflation? So you now begin to think, let your head begin to think, so that even when you have money now, you are saving something for retirement. You are making your money to work for you, to earn more money for you for retirement.
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't plan that because they believe that what's the mortality rate in Nigeria, so they won't be alive.
Yeah.
But it is such people say that God will now give
Give long
long life.
life and prosperity.
I don't know whether prosperity will not be added. God will, God will so give them long life. And they'll not be, if I'd listened to myself 20 years ago, I won't be here.
I should have planned my life.
And you don't depend. You have no right to depend on your children. In old age, in retirement, no.
It's as if gone are the days of that.
How much are you even giving your parents now? You yourself.
Of that proverbs that when the mother rabbit has nursed the kid rabbit, so it is the breast of the mother of the kid rabbit
Of the
and the
kid
mother
rabbits.
rabbit that will be.
That is good for rabbits. Let
It is good for
rabbits
the
be
rabbit
doing that.
world.
Let rabbits be doing that in their colony. Is good. But in the human world that we live in, because you will need your privacy, you need your comfort. You understand?
Yeah.
You don't want anybody to be telling you when to eat, what to eat, or sit down here. You can't go anywhere. You want your freedom because you've always had your freedom.
Yeah.
Yes. You don't want to be confined to one room and be looking the whole world through one window. They are going. No, you still want to be vibrant. You know, I don't teach that money is everything or that you should love money, but money gives joy, it gives comfort, and it places you on a level that gives you a voice in your world. Because when people see that you can get whatever it is that you want for yourself, there's an extent of respect that they will give you. If they know that you are not a burden to them.
I know of someone that will say, I love to see my money in my account because it makes me take good decision of every
Exactly.
other thing around.
Yes. And it doesn't mean because you should be leaving things for your children. Bible says a righteous person, is it a righteous now, will leave inheritance. Number one, for his children, and also for his children's children.
Yeah.
So you're not just thinking about yourself in retirement. When you build that house in Nigeria, make sure you cut it into pieces. One for Bumi, the other one for Shade, the other one for John, and for John's children.
Let everyone be a partaker of the cake. The cake must go around.
Before you start thinking, oh, I pray that John will become a pilot. He'll be earning pounds. When I retire, he'll be taking care of me. You don't know the vibe that John is going to marry.
As we wrap up this show today, I want us to touch point on entrepreneurship. Because it's actually one of the things that is something that we've grown up to be or to know. You made mention during the first part about entrepreneurs who are our mothers, great grandfathers were all entrepreneurs. They weren't going to any school to do anything. They were just themselves a professor of entrepreneurship, right from birth. They follow their own fathers, mothers, and so many immigrants run informal businesses without proper, seemingly without proper registration in this climate that we are in. And how can they transition from their former business that they own, that they are running, to maximize financial benefits? What financial challenges do you think immigrants who are starting new businesses encounter?
So it is understanding the UK tax systems on how to establish, and when you're established, what are your responsibilities as the owner of the business. I've seen that a lot. And I keep telling people, and it seems like for some of them, the only time they get to understand it is when they run themselves into trouble. Yes. So being an entrepreneur is good. It means that you have an idea, you've worked through that idea, and it's not generating you money, and some would even call others to come and work with them. So you're now an employer of labor, which is quite interesting. But even in doing that, UK is a country that is well So the system that runs in this country is well established when it comes to laws, and a lot of conditions to doing things and maybe to not doing things. So you need to understand at least the basic before you set out. It is your responsibility. If you don't know them, go and seek for this knowledge. So if you're an engineer and you want to go into business, you have no business idea. You can't just go and register and start it. You have to learn some things. You have to learn some things because your engineering mind cannot sustain you in the business world. You just have to. And there are a lot of things you can learn online, even on YouTube. Go and see what should be done and what is your responsibility in that organization. So number one, you have to register your business. Register it properly. Put in the name, your date of birth. They'll ask you all of those. Get a name for the business. Name that's never been taken by anybody anyway. By the time you start searching and all of that, you will see, and you'll be approved. And once you start, you get a UK bank account. And you decide also if you're going to have other shareholders with you or you want to be the only director. So you make sure you fill out all of those. And once you've started, now do not run this business as you would normally run your own personal account. Let me just say it is illegal. Don't do it. So let everything that relates to the business, any money, let it go into the business. And anything that you buy in the name of the business, take it also from the business account. And if let's say the business is, spanking new, it's not had any transaction, and you're spending money on the business. If you're taking money from your personal account, note it somewhere. You can get a spreadsheet. You can get a notebook. On the 12th day of January 2023, I spent £1,000. I spent it on this. Put it there. And then you also say again, on the 24th day of this month, I spent this amount of money on this. Because a time would come when you will have to take back your money from the business. If you don't write down all your personal spendings for the business, if you don't write them down, media, how would you know what to take back from the business? Because if you now say, oh, my business is not making £100,000, you just take 50,000. Somebody will have to ask you, what is that money for? You'll have to justify it.
Yeah.
So because you run it does not mean that you can mismanage what comes in. So the ignorance, of the UK tax laws relating to business is one killer, to sustaining that business in the country. So you have to know some of these things. And if you have an accountant, which is some of the things that I do, I try to sit them down and I tell them this is how you have to do it. And you can either take what I've said or go and find somebody else who is not really understanding that, because I know a lot of people say somebody said I should do something and I did it. And when it's not gone well, they will not come back. But I said, okay, so I can rectify it.
Please,
but you still have to pay this to the government. You thought you were going to save money before, but yeah, you will pay more.
No.
So that is one thing that you have to learn. So ignorance of the UK tax law concerning the running of businesses is a killer to the sustenance of those businesses, by immigrants. So they have to learn that. I hope that answers the question. I'm not sure if there's any other part I'm missing.
No, I think okay. Are there any networking opportunities? I mean, as we wind down in this podcast, are there any networking opportunities, mentorship programs, or business communities that exist for immigrants, entrepreneurs in the UK that you know about that we can?
And recently I was speaking to somebody, because that's another thing that I plan to do. I'm working behind the scenes to do some of these things. God help me. And because I think we need that collaboration to come together to understand from one aspect, what exactly it is that people like us should actually focus on when it comes to, making it in this country. Because you see that some people know something that you don't know, but until you get a platform where everybody comes out and be their brother's keeper. So we are not racing here, we are not competing. You can't have the money that I'm meant to have with yours. You have yours, I have mine. So it's just sharing of knowledge and information. Oh, what has burnt your fingers before? You share it there so that others don't fall into the same pit. So that is just what we just want to gather. And so once we have that, I know in some groups, maybe in some churches, some people will just say, okay, we just want to form this, we just want to form that. So it's just all about the people that they know. So any outsider is not allowed. So it's a closed community. Let me just put it that way. So, but on a big platform, I think, there are lots of things that we can do for ourselves, especially, in the Black community, because until we have come together, we may see some people not rise in our midst because they are not in the right place. And that an environment builds, great things. If you're in the right environment, you see that ideas will just be freely flowing, and you have people left and right that can handhold you and take you to the top. And even as you're going, we are lifted with you. So, and that is really what, can help us in this to get through all of this. Yes. Because the Asian community, they have, the Jewish community, they have, their money stays within their community. They don't. So if anybody in that community is patronizing me now, it's just to understand how I do my thing. So once they've understood it, they build the same empire for themselves. And so you now see them patronizing that person. That is it.
Is there anything, just within a minute, is there anything that is a challenge to Africans not building lasting communities? Because if we have this mindset that you can go fast on your own, but you can go far with people running with you. But how many people are actually running together in this terrain? So much so that I think the mindset of what we have either back at home, I want to be your senior, I want to be more than you, I want to be greater than you without anyone bringing up the other, has really followed us wherever we are going. Is there anything about Africans and lack of collaboration? We have collaboration as part of our knowledge view. We have it as part of our daily living. But what is stopping us from practicing it, even when we come to foreign lands like this?
I think it's not entirely the case in all sectors. For example, when it comes to financial literacy, there are lots of pockets and sectors where we just gather people and train them, show them the way, what to do, and it's not left for those people to now run with that and see themselves, becoming what, they've been taught. And I know that also, when it comes to, like you said, some collaborations, we come together, we share insights, especially when it's got to do with career. We have some groups where they share insights on how to become a data analyst, how to become a scrum master. Some people started off doing it for free because I used to run that before. And they now, and I'm still mentors. I still mentor on some of these groups. And they now, in turn gather their kind of people to say, don't sit around just doing care jobs. We have this platform where you can learn to become a project manager, where you can become a scrum master, a data analyst, a business analyst, and all of that. So we have all those going on. But when it comes to, actually building wealth or making more money, that is where some people now hold back. even though we've all gone there, we all learned everything about it. But when they start doing their own and they see that there are some things that their own people do not even know or do not understand, I think it's just the mindset. They just don't say it. So they just want to be the person buying the new house, buying the new car, their children going to private schools and all of that. So that every other person is now like wondering, how are you doing it
How are
now?
you doing it? You just say it's the
When
grace
you're
of
not doing
God.
ritual killing or whatever. So
It's the
how are
usual.
you? What?
It's the
Yeah,
usual response. Oh, it is God's
it
grace.
is God, oh, it is
It
God,
is
oh.
God, though.
And we're just wondering, like, why is God not smiling on me
One
too?
smiling on me too.
So that is the thing where I think, and when you look at it properly, it's either they are using their money to generate more income in another way that they've not really exposed you to. For some of them, maybe they found a particular stock that sells well and they're able to turn over their money quite quickly, or they've just gotten themselves into a kind of property business,
Yeah.
Or there's something in the background that they are doing. They're just like, if I show him now, if I show her now, and does that mean no? So, and they just keep it, which, I mean,
Yes.
we see that happen.
Yeah.
We see that happen. So even some people, and I will say this, not everybody that you see that is struggling, yeah, in the Black community. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Some already, they may be in their 30s or just nearing their 40s. They are already made.
Yes.
Their tomorrow is already secure.
Yes.
Yes. But they look on a lighter, whatever, we are mates. So we are mates. We wear some rickety kind of shoes. We look somehow. So you just think we are both not there yet, but they are made. They're already made. So some people know where these secrets are, but they are not just sharing it, which is not what I do, because it's not as if I even knew a lot when I started sharing this. I know I've been investing for years, for decades, but I've made mistakes. When I now saw that, and I would just say something casually, and some people would just say, you're already doing that. I say, it's a common knowledge. Everybody in this world already knows it. They will say, no, they don't know. I say, so maybe I thought everybody knew that I was the last person in the class to even know what the whole world has already known. So there are still some people in my cycle that are still like ignorant. I just like, maybe God is leading me this way. So let me show what I know so that they get it too. Because there are some people I paid to trade me. Do you know it was what I already know, what I given for free that I paid for £100 sometimes for maybe 2 hours, and they'll just tell me you did. I say, so this is all they do. And they so give it a big, massive name that it looks like once I get into that course or that training, I'll just blow.
That training, you will blow.
I'm just like, God. So
Let's
that is it.
use let's use this to wrap up before I have your parting shots. How do you think cultural perception influence financial decisions, and how can immigrants navigate these differences? Just to wrap up for today.
Culture will always play a big role in everything that we do, except we were born here and you've always lived in this country. That is when culture won't have any issue. Because when we say some things to our children, they're always asking why. Why? Why is that? Why should I even think that way?
Think about, yeah.
So you're trying to distort something in them, and they're just like, and you two have to think about to Thomas. I mean, that's really true. I shouldn't even be saying this to them because culturally, they are not Nigerians.
They're not Africans.
They are not Africans. They are Britico.
Yeah.
Yes, they are called Britico. It's only when they just want to joke and just make us feel like proud Nigerian parents that they just change. They now start speaking pidgin English, or they just tone down their accent to our Nigerian kind of thing, or they dance those kind of Afro beats that we see all over the place. So culture plays a lot, because for somebody like when I first came to this country, I'd never borrowed money from anybody when I was in Nigeria, not once. And when I got here, because I've always lived on what I earned or what my parents were able to provide before I started working. And so when I came here, I now saw that You can't even save up to buy a house. You'll have to get some loan. So even if you're putting your small money here, it will take you long time
yes.
to have 150 or 250,000 pounds to buy a house. So you must borrow. And in the borrowing, there is interest payments. So even if you are paying 600 pounds a month, almost 200 pounds or 200 pounds plus is interest payment. So I sat back, I was like, how is that? In Nigeria, you buy your piece of land, you just do your fence around it. When you have 100,000, you go there,
you go there,
you buy whatever, you do it.
you build it.
Next time you go there, and before you know it, in 2
It may
years,
take
your
you
house is
5
standing.
years for you to do
Yes.
it. Even you can even park in without even
And do your BQ only.
Yeah.
And you take the rest to whenever it is that you have the money.
Yes.
And you're like, oh my God, why is this country like doing some people bis as in you must come? And you're like, okay. So somebody sent me a card with approved you for a credit card. I said, I tore it. I said, why would I be doing credit card? Well, it wasn't long when I took it, Sha. So I started spending
So
credit.
you decided to change
So
that mentality that I mean I can be a borrower too, but it's not
because
that
they are now saying
I'm a
that,
servant.
okay,
It's not I'm a servant to the lender.
we saw that in the Bible, but we didn't even understand how it was working against or for us. So when it was now like time to do big things that will need money, and you will now go to the bank, they will now say, oh, they are denied. Denied for what? They haven't got credit. What's credit all about? I'm just like, okay, so how do we even build this credit? So you spend somebody's money, and they will now rate you based on that. Your score will not determine whether you get big things or small things. So I said, okay. So, and we started spending. Sometimes we even overspent. That it ran us into problems. You understand? But I was quick to now understand that we can't continue to live like this. We just need to work out how we manage our lives and the money that comes in. So that was the start of me understanding financial literacy according to the United Kingdom, not according to Nigeria or Africa.
Kingdom.
Because this really, you have to learn and master some things. You can't play it like dasically as in whatever comes, whatever goes. You have to know what you are using your money for, because your money can just go. All like that. So that was when we started. So culture will play a lot. And some people will still say that they are not going to take any credit card. If anybody watching us is like that, you see, don't change your mind. Look for other means of credit, that you can use. If you have a car and you have any allowance on it and you're paying it, that is enough, as long as you're not defaulting in the payment of that car. Even the SIM on your phone or your phone contract, it goes on your credit. The credit bureaus look at that on a regular basis to rate you. So, and it goes up. I work in the bank and I have seen people without credit cards that got loans for mortgages. So it works. If you are speaking to a mortgage broker and they are just bent on no credit card, go to another one. Leave them. Go to another one. So my pattern short, I'm not sure, can we make that now?
Yes, you can. You can make
my pattern short is for all immigrants and even non-immigrants. You have a very, very huge responsibility on how well you turn out financially. So the defining line for anyone is the years apart, because a time would come later on in life when 20 people that had been together 20 years ago, maybe only 5 are now left, will come together. And you will sit back and look at person 1, person 2, person 3, person 4 with yourself and look at what has been missing.
Or changed.
Yes, or changed. You will see that the person that is well grounded financially and that has goals, plain, clear goals that they followed through, not allowing distractions or the noises all around to take their focus away, they will be standing in the end.
Wow.
And those other 4, 5 people will be asking, what have you been doing that you didn't tell us?
Tell us.
And you'll be able to tell them, you say, remember that training that we went when Coach Funke was telling us the ABC of whatever? We were all there. Say, so that was all you did. You say, I didn't do any other one. Really? I didn't know she was even talking anything that made sense. You say, it made sense to me, because it was like she was speaking to me. You understand?
Wow.
That's number one. Number two, parting shot. Surround yourself with people that are already where you're going, or that are even going the same way as you. Because if you are a friend to 6 poor people, poor intelligently, poor in wisdom, poor in understanding, you are going to be the number 7 person in that same line of poverty.
A
as them.
perfect number.
Yes. You are just going to be the same, in the same line of poverty. You are going to be the next person. You'll be number 7. So that is one thing that you have to make sure you do. I know that the UK is so small and it can take a lot out of us because we don't have too many events happening all around us all the time. But you have the internet. You can learn a lot. You can mingle with people, even people not in the UK, to learn from them. If it means paying, pay. I have mentors I pay. Some so cheap, some so expensive, and I still pay them. Even my spiritual development, I do not leave it with anybody. I take responsibility for that. And I pay for courses. I pay for Bible schools. I pay to learn a lot. So you have that huge responsibility on your shoulders. Do not delay. You are still in your active years. Take this responsibility and flow with it. And it's just a matter of time. You'll be so surprised.
Wow. Wow. Amazing, amazing things that we've learned here over the past two episodes of navigating the financial system as an immigrant. These are basically tips for success.
Yeah.
We've not even gone down the practical side. But for you to actually know the practical side, it will mean you going or coming for a training that Mrs. Funke Ogunjobi will be planning. But we'll definitely make sure we get you to know about those trainings. We'll also on TouchPoint or Tayo also get something arranged with Mrs. Funke Ogunjobi to train and to actually get people into the line of investing, even the little that you have. Either you are here in the UK, you are anywhere, any part of the world, you can succeed and create wealth for yourself in a little way. It starts from drops of water, drops of naira, drops of dollars, drop of pounds, even drops of rand, anywhere in which you are. Surround yourself with people who are already where you are going or who are going to where you are going. Don't surround yourself with people that you have left behind. So that you don't become left behind at the end of the day. Pay to learn. Even your spiritual growth, pay to learn. If you pay, you will be paid at the end of the day. Internet is there. It's not just browsing and listening to all of the conversations that are distracting currently online these days. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for online. Internet. But if you are going somewhere, you don't listen to the noise of the market. You go straight to where you are going. In all, I think for the past two episodes, it has been the concept of responsibility that we've been talking about. And if truly you are going to be responsible in everything, you need to start taking yourself responsible about your life. What are you doing to grow yourself in every aspect of your life? And nobody will grow you for you. You will need to grow yourself for yourself. And the only place where people will come in is teaching you what they know. And there are so many platforms where you can learn what they know. Elistere Accounting Services is there. You can contact, you can go to Mrs. Funke Ogunjobi's platform. Check for her, you will see all our details. And thank you so much for giving us your time. And we know when we come back, it's like the rabbit who has tasted this good thing, it will always come back over
Mm.
and over again. So we'll always come back in a big and in an also active way. Thank you so much for sharing this valuable wisdom and giving us an understanding of the UK tax system. I can't forget it. The understanding of the UK tax system is the beginning
The
of
beginning of
wisdom.
wisdom.
Thank you for joining us on Touchpoint with Tayo today. Thanks to my co-host Iniolua and also to conversant on the call today, Joseph Adebola. And thanks to the backroom team, the researchers, and the social media team. Thank you so much. Thanks to all the production team. Thanks to my listeners and audience and viewers who come in every week, night, every night listening to us. And we'll be taking on another series entirely from next week. You don't want to miss that one. I don't want to let the bag out of the cat. Just watch out for the flyer, and then you'll be able to know this is where the train is going next. We've talked about money, we've talked about finances. Where do you think we're going next? Watch out for it. Until then, remember, life's journey unfolds uniquely. Run your race to attract grace, because it is within the race that grace express most powerful of the expression that you can ever have in life. I've been your host, Tayo Oweye. Join me next week for another exciting episode on Touchpoint with Tayo. Until then, have a good night rest. Bye.